Hubarin ang takot sa iyong damdamin, ipamalas ang angking galing.
Tumayong mong tapang harapin ng buhay, yakapin ang tagumpay.
Tulungan ang kapwa't bigyang halaga, wag hatakin ng pababa.
Isipin wag sana ang sarili lang, pakisama't bayanihan.
Subukan nating isulong at ligawan ang
Magandang bukas, ikaw at ako magkasama tayo. Salubungin ang kinabukasan.
Manila, the heart of the Philippines, is longing to have you back. We search for your wandering gaze inside our museums and your curious steps through our historical streets. We look for your merry smiles as you eat and shop, and your laughter is a sound we long to hear once more, hopefully soon. the city of Manila misses you. As the world awakens from the slumber brought about by the COVID-19 pandemic, we eagerly prepare for your return, launching projects that highlight safety, cleanliness, and most of all, the beauty that the city inherently exudes. Our dream is to welcome you to a Manila that has spent much time in heightening its existing tourist experience, to give our visitors a visual access to the rich art and cultural heritage of the city. Street clearing has been actively pursued. A pedestrian-friendly city awaits as wider sidewalks and green spaces are being built alongside enlivened parks and greenways. Tourism events are continuously launched with the kickoff of the Restaurant Week, which aims to give emphasis to the gastronomical adventure when one visits Manila, as it boasts of a diverse palette brought about by the various cultures residing in the city. From the authentic Chinese food in Binondo to the street food of Ugbo and Endaya, and just recently, within Bonifacio Shrine, beside the newly installed Berlin Wall, is the newly launched Cafe Tolyo, a coffee haven. All these are being achieved while the city adheres to the health and safety protocols that have been set by the World Health Organization. Face masks and face shields must be worn at all times, while protective health habits such as proper hand washing, the use of sanitizing alcohol, and social distancing are strictly followed. Manila is a beautiful home enveloped with the warmth of its people, teeming with palpable pride, unforgettable hospitality, and resilience through any form of adversity. This strength, witnessed by its long and colorful history, pushed us to rise with courage, faith, and hope. Even in the midst of a challenging economic period, Manila is ready. See you soon.
In the last 500 years, Filipinos have fought for freedom, unity, and equality. We have made our mark in many fields, from science and medicine to culture and the arts. We are beacons of creativity, resourcefulness, resiliency, and compassion. In 2021, the Filipino people will join the world in commemorating one of the greatest achievements of mankind, the first circumnavigation of the world. We celebrate this historic achievement by bannering an important message. Over adversity and struggles, we shall triumph, putting humanity first, always.
At bisitahin natin ang Manila, tamang kapanatagan at pagmamahalan. Ito ay bahagi ng aming tanging yaman, sa lugar na sagana sa kultura at kasaysayan.
Tuloy po kayo mag-alak sa aming hinanda, sa pagdating sa lupin ng gandang ng Manila.
Pagmasdan ang lungsod niya, may malasakit at patungo sa pagpunlat. O Manila, ningning at sentro ng Pilipinas, sigaw sa mundo, taglay nitong kagandahan. Welcome po kayo sa Manila.
Here we go! Unite together,
hope to a country we call it Manila. Matayog ang pangarap, ako at ikaw, parang magagarang gusali na natatanaw. Bawat misyon at mithiin, bahagi ng kasaysayan. Lambod mo sa Pilipinas, hayag na sa ibang bayan. Tuklasin ang kasaysayan, sadyang nakakahalina. Sa lugar na makulay, welcome po sa Manila. Tuloy po kayo magalak sa aming hinanda, sa pagdating sa lubungin ang ganda ng Manila. Oh Manila,
may malasakit at patungo sa pagbulan.
oh Manila, Pilipinas at sentro ng Pilipinas. Sigaw sa mundo, taglay nitong kagandahan.
Manila, may malasakit at patungo sa pagbulan.
Manila, lingling at sentro ng Pilipinas. Sigaw sa mundo, taglay nitong kagandahan. Welcome po kayo sa Manila. Welcome to Manila.
Kalab na puso, sa dibdib ko'y buhay. Hindi sumusuko, sa hirap matlumbay. Sa mga manlulupi, hindi pasisi. Duyan ang magigiti, hindi papi. Kabuti ay bati, limandan mang taon ng daluyot yanig. Tayo bumabangon, isang puso pa rin, isang alak sa dilim. Iba't iba man ang mga bituin, sa
the National Historical Commission of the Philippines, as well as the National Quincentennial Committee of the Philippines, supported by the Department of Foreign Affairs, the Department of Education, as well as the National Commission for Culture and the Arts. And of course, this is your host, Rancho Arcilla, from the Intramuros Administration. Now, just to give a recap, so since this is already the third episode, so just to give a recap, the first episode aired last June 3 was with Ian Alfonso, and in that episode, we talked about the death of the nameless hero and the Battle of Bangkusay. Now, in the second episode, we had Xiao Chua. This was last June 8, and Xiao further deepened the discussion in the first episode by exploring further how the death of the first hero led to the founding of a city, of the city of Manila. And in case you've missed these episodes, do not worry because these episodes are recorded, and feel free to retrieve a copy of these recordings from the Facebook page of the National Quincentennial Committee of the Philippines. And now, in this third episode, so this is already the third, we shall talk about the heritage of Manila. So today we're having Jerwil Cruz, and the title for today's episode is Manila's Historic Sites and Structures in the Survey Files of the National Historical Commission of the Philippines. Now, who is Jerwil Cruz? Today we are proud to have a promising emerging professional in the field of history and cultural management. Right. So Jerwil works as a Historic Sites Development Officer 2 of the National Historical Commission of the Philippines, and he is a member at the National Quincentennial Committee Secretariat, as well as the Local Historical Committees Network Secretariat. He has a BA in History from the Polytechnic University of the Philippines. Now, without further ado, I'd like to call on Jerwil to start his presentation. Jerwil, ready when you are po.
Hello, good afternoon, at magandang hapon po sa lahat. Maayong hapon ka natong tanan dahil ako ay naririto ngayon sa Cebu para naman sa gaganaping pagdiriwang ng Pambansang Araw ng Kalayaan bukas. First, I would like to thank the National Historical Commission of the Philippines, the National Bicentennial Committee, the Intramuros Administration, and the City Government of Manila for having me this afternoon to present and discuss an interesting topic, which is a very good subject in connection with the 450th anniversary of our beloved city. So, So the title of my presentation is Profiling Manila, the Manila's Historic Sites and Structures Survey Collections of the National Historical Commission of the Philippines. Well, before I became a member of the National Bicentennial Committee Secretariat, I was the history researcher at the Historic Preservation Division of the National Historical Commission. And one thing that really amazed me was the collection of survey files that my former division have. So these survey files are records that was drafted and used by our restoration architects, engineers, and history researchers to document and assess historical sites and structures in the country. So these files are in very good condition or state that these documents are possible to be used as historical sources for researchers who are interested in writing local history and heritage. So aside from the assessment papers, some of these files also contains photographs, plans, souvenir programs, and other visual aids. So later in this presentation, I will present some of the interesting survey files of the Commission about Manila. So I will start with the Charter of the National Historical Commission of the Philippines. So Republic Act 10086, the act that changed the nomenclature of the National Historical Institute into the National Historical Commission of the Philippines, and also strengthens its power and functions. So included in this law is the creation and institutionalization of some of the offices and centers within the Commission. So these are the Materials Research Conservation Division, which is in charge in the taking care of movable heritage and also in charge in the conservation of monuments. We also have the Local Historical Committees Network, kung saan miyembro ako ng sekretariat. So ito naman yung alliance ng mga local historical societies in the Philippines. And lastly, the Historic Sites and Structure Documentation Center, or HSSDC. So the latter one will be one of our subject of discussion this afternoon. So the HSSDC was created through Section 20 of Republic Act 10066, 86. So it replaced the survey and documentation section of the HPD. So isa sa mga primary mandates ng HSSDC ay mag-undertake ng survey, identification, documentation, and recognition ng mga makasaysayang pook at mga istruktura. So this can be done through first installation of a historical marker or through declaration as a national historical landmark, national shrine, national monument, heritage house, historic centers, or heritage zones. So isa pa sa mga mandate ng HSSDC ay ang pag-maintain ng National Registry of Historic Sites and Structures. So itong National Registry, ito yung list ng mga pook at istruktura na kinikilalang makasaysayan ng NHCP. So As I said earlier, the AHS-SDC maintains the National Registry of Historic Sites and Structures. So, to give you a background, as of now, the NHCP, based on registry, has marked 1,551 historical sites and structures. And wala pa dito yung recently na minark ng Battle of Bangkusay, hindi pa yun isasama. And then yung 34 na quincentennial markers of the Philippine route of the Magellan-Elcano expedition. And meron naman 223 na historic sites and structures as declared as National Historical Landmark, National Shrine, National Monument, Heritage Zones, and Historic Centers. So far, patuloy yung ginagawang pag-update ng NHCP para ma-determine talaga yung exact numbers ng mga markers dahil isa sa mga challenges ng documentation nito is nagkakaroon ng kalituhan. Like ginagaya yung design ng marker ng NHCP or di naman kaya is nawawala or ninanakaw yung mga lumang markers. So ngayon, yung National Registry of Historic Sites and Structures, maaari siyang ma-access through our blogspot, NHCP Historic Sites .blogspot.com. So the NHCP's function on built heritage preservation was solely tasked to the Historic Preservation Division. So the division is composed of architects, engineers, and history researchers. So as of now, the HSSDC is classified as a section of the HPD. So the HPD has the expertise on restoration of historic structures. So among the most prominent projects of the HPD is the restoration of the Paway Church, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site structure, and also the churches destroyed by the 2013 Bohol, Cebu earthquake. So marking of historic sites and structures is actually the earliest function of the NHCP since it was created in 1933 by U.S. Governor General Frank Murphy. So if we actually take a look at the Executive Order number 451, series of 1933, on the second paragraph, Governor General Murphy actually used and mentioned the city of Manila in particular to highlight the historical countless antiquities in the Philippines. So the second paragraph states, the city of Manila in particular has a long and romantic history. There are countless antiquities still in a prime state of preservation. Indeed, still in daily use. That manifests that history and many inspiring incidents of it. It is almost essential. From the cultural viewpoint, it is actually essential that as many of these antiquities as possible be verified and appropriately marked with indelible legends or bronze, and aesthetically, it is important that the bronze tablet utilized for this purpose be general in uniformity. So Manila, being the capital of the Philippines, was actually made as an example by the American government in the Philippines on the importance of the historical significance of the sites and structures in the country. So, as I said earlier, the Historic Sites and Structures Documentation Center are still identifying the exact number of historical markers installed throughout the country. And idagdag pa dito yung mga recently unveiled historical markers when I said recently, ito yung this 2021 pa lang na-unveil or na-install. And meron pa dyan yung mga historical markers na nawawala or ninakaw or na-damage. And upon restoration ng owner or yung site owner, naiba yung itsura ng historical marker. So isa pang kalituhan ay ang magkakaibang anyo ng historical markers ng NHCP. So kaya mahalaga nga na kumbaga bago tayo magkaroon ng interventions sa mga historical markers, mahalaga na magpa-consult muna tayo sa NHCP for the proper handling of the conservation of the historical markers. So based on the National Registry, so there are 1,521 historical markers. So since 1933 to. So we all think possibly that the earliest marker was only installed in 1934. And preferably ito yung mga nasa loob ng Intramuros. Because the Philippine Historical Research and Markers Committee was only created at the latter part of 1933, which is in October. And kailangan din naman ng time to research the historical narrative na ilalagay sa mga historical marker text, and kailangan din ng time to fabricate the historical markers. So karamihan talaga is na-install noong 1934. So here's a photo of the historical marker of the Fort Santiago in Intramuros. And sa iba pa makikita na naka-indicate yung year kung kailan na-fabricate yung historical marker, which is talagay nito is 1934. So similar to sa mga markers natin today na naka-engrave din yung date kung kailan ito na-fabricate. Of the 1,521 historical markers identified, 1,295 are identified as level 2 historical sites and structures. And based guidelines ng NHCP, these level 2 structures are identified as historical sites and structures, but without any declaration as national historical landmark, etc. And as of now, we have 223 level 1 declared historical sites and structures as national historical landmark, national shrine, national monuments. So wala pa dito yung may mga collective declaration like the colonial churches based sa NHCP Board Resolution number 3 series of 1990. So there are also instances na may mga declaration kaya lang walang historical marker, like the Rizal Memorial Sports Complex in Malate and Manila Bay. Yeah. So for the city of Manila, there are 32 level 1 declared historical sites and structures composed of the following. So meron sa City of Manila, meron 22 na national historical landmark, may 5 national shrine, may 3 national monument, 3 national monuments, may 1 heritage house, at may 1 historic center or heritage zone. So ito yung Santa Ana heritage zones. So also there are 345 historical markers installed throughout Manila. So ito yung statistics ng mga historical markers na naka-install sa Manila. So ang Binondo has 17 historical markers. Ang Ermita naman is may 97, which is ito yung pinakamarami sa Ermita. So ang Intramuros ay may 69, Malate is 25, Paco is 13, Pandacan is 7, Quiapo is 8, Sampaloc is 16, San Miguel 25, San Nicolas 5, Port Area has 6, Santa Ana, Manila has 5, Santa Cruz has 29, Santa Mesa has 5, and Binondo has 18 historical markers. So these markers are not just markers for historical sites and structures. So kasama rin sa bilang na to yung mga markers, yung mga biographical markers and event markers. So meron ding mga markers about institution or mga milestones like nag 100 year isang particular na institution. So I will start with the statistics of the National Historical Commission survey files. But before that, I would just like to remind everyone that the numbers of the NSGP survey files differs from the numbers of marked and declared sites and structures. So hindi naman kasi lahat ng mga nasa survey ng NSGP is worthy talaga mabigyan ng historical marker or declaration. So kaya itong mga files na ito, kagaya na sinabi ko kanina, are all just assessment papers, plans, and researches. So these survey files is our basis for recognizing historic sites and structures. So as of now, there are 1,158 available survey files in NSGP. I said available, ito yung maaaring makita lamang ng mga files, yung maaaring ma-access sa public. Dahil continuous pa rin yung updating sa mga ito. And ito yung mga statistics naman per region. So for Region 1, merong 49 na available na survey file. So most of the survey files for Region 1 is in Ilocos Norte. So for Region 2, may 8 available na survey files. So 3 sa Isabela and 5 sa Batanes. So for Region 3, may 56 na survey files. So 8 sa Bataan, 9 sa Bulacan, 23 sa Pampanga, 10 sa Nueva Ecija, and 5 sa Tarlac, at 1 sa Zambales. So for Region 4A, may 140 na survey file collection ng NSGP for Region 4A, and karamihan sa mga ito ay nasa Batangas, particularly dito sa Taal Heritage Town. So ang Batangas meron itong 45 na available na collection, 45 na available na survey files. Ang Cavite is may 24, ang Laguna is 41, ang Rizal ay may 6 na available na survey files, and ang Quezon is may 24. So for Region 4B, a total of 28 survey files. So sa Marinduque may 16. Sa Oriental Mindoro is may 2. Occidental Mindoro is 1. Sa Palawan 5. At sa Romblon 4. So for Region 5 may 32 na survey files. For Region 6 may 82, and yung bulk ng mga survey files ito is nasa Negros Occidental sa because of the Silay Heritage Town. So sa Silay meron tayong 54 na sa Negros Occidental meron tayong 54 na survey file, sa Iloilo 16, sa Capiz 5, and sa Antique 7. For Region 7 is merong 92, and karamihan is nasa Bohol and Cebu. For Region 8 merong 31. For Region 9, may 9 na available na survey files. 4 sa Zamboanga del Norte and 5 sa Zamboanga del Sur. For Region 10, may 1. For Caraga, merong 2. Sa Bangsamoro, may 10 na available na survey files. Sa Davao Region, 1. Sa Cordillera Administrative Region is 2. And ang pinakamarami sa mga survey files and more than half of the survey files is about Metro Manila. So sa Metro Manila, sa National Capital Region, meron 615 na available na survey files. So ito yung distribution ng survey files for Metro Manila. So sa Caloocan City may 5, Sa Las Piñas may 2 available, sa Makati 13, sa Malabon 7, sa Mandaluyong 7, sa Marikina 4, sa Navotas 2, sa Parañaque may 1, sa Pasay may 26, sa Pasig City may 9, sa Quezon City may 8, sa San Juan may available na 45 na survey files, sa Taguig 2, Valenzuela 2, and Katihan is nasa City of Manila, which is 482 survey files. So ito yung statistics naman ng ng survey files sa Manila. So, and for the City of Manila, there are a total of 482 available survey files. So here are the statistics per district of Manila. So sa Binondo, merong available na 51 na survey files and mostly composed of commercial buildings itong mga ito. Like the El Hogar Filipino, the Uysubin and Company, Filtras Building, Regina Building, Perez sa Manilo, Natividad, Calvo, Filang Building, to name a few. Siyempre, kasama rin sa survey files na Binondo, yung Binondo Church, and we also have the Plaza Morga, Plaza Cervantes, and may mga monuments din like the Roman Ongpin Monument and the Tomas Pinpin Monument. So for Ermita, 48 yung available na survey files dito. For Ermita, medyo diverse yung survey files, yung composition ng survey file collection sa district nito. First, dahil ito yung parang center ng Manila kasi. So karamihan sa mga survey files dito is government buildings like the Manila City Hall, the Manila Police District Building sa may UN Avenue, sa yung Old Legislative Building kasama rin, ito yung National Museum of Fine Arts, yung Old Finance Building, which is the National Museum of Anthropology right now, and yung Old Agriculture Building, which is the National Museum of Natural History. So kasama rin sa mga civic buildings na to is yung Manila Post Office Building. So kasama rin sa composition ng survey files ng Ermita is yung mga hotels and hotel buildings and commercial establishments. So like the Bayview Hotel along Rojas Boulevard, kasama yung survey files namin. Meron din ng Manila Hotel, syempre. Ang Luneta Hotel, Miramar Hotel, Rizal Park Hotel, which is the old Army and Navy Club building. So meron din kami survey files about universities like the Philippine Normal University buildings, the old Meralco building, which is now in Adamson University. Kasama rin yun sa survey files yung Manila Science High School along TAF, and then yung mga buildings na UP Manila, Santa Isabel College, and Technological University of Manila. So kasama rin sa composition ng Ermita survey files yung mga parks like the Luneta Park, syempre, yung Mehan Garden, yung Wasang Bonifacio. So kasama rin sa survey files yung mga leisure establishments like the Manila Metropolitan Theater, kasama yan. Yung old na High Alay Building, kasama rin. YMCA Building. So meron ding mga house of worship like the Ermita Church, Church of St. Vincent de Paul sa may San Marcelino, and yung Central United Methodist Church along Calao. Kasama yan sa mga survey files ng Ermita. So, for Intramuros, merong 10 na available ng survey files. So, there are few survey files for Intramuros dahil alam naman natin na na karamihan sa mga buildings ng Intramuros is nasira noong World War II. Pero among the survey files of Intramuros are Fort Santiago, Manila Cathedral, San Agustin Church, meron din yung Chamber of Commerce of Philippine Islands, and syempre yung meron din kami survey files ng and assessment ng entire walls ng Intramuros. So for Malate, merong 14 na available na survey files. So karamihan sa mga survey files na Malate ay mga residential structures naman. So dito makikita mo yung kumbaga parang may zoning na yung Manila. So sa Malate, yung residential structures like the Salud Apartments, Batista House, Escudero House, Apostol Houses, meron din naman mga communal buildings sa Malate like the Malate Church, meron din survey file syempre yung Rizal Memorial Sports Complex, kasama yung mga buildings nito. Meron din tayo yung Spanish Colonial Defense, which is the Fort San Antonio Abad sa loob ng Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas. Kasama yan sa mga survey files ng Malate. So for Paco, merong 42 na available na survey files. So ang composition ng Paco survey files is mostly residential din, like the Alvarez Residence, Gaiti Apartments, Melo Residence, yung Laurel Residence kasama dyan, to name a few. Pero meron din namang mga communal buildings sa Paco, like the sites of the Royal Court Motel, Our Lady of Peñafrancia Parish Church. Meron din kami survey files ng Paco Railroad Station, ng Oregon Lodge. Meron din yung Paco Cemetery, syempre. Tsaka yung Plaza Dilao. So for Pandacan, merong 23 na available na survey files and mostly residences din ito except for the Pandacan Church, syempre. The Franciscan Missionaries of Mary Convent, yung monument ni Jacinto Zamora, and the Balagtas Monument. So for Port area, merong isa na survey file. Ito yung Pier 7 Passenger Terminal Building. Sa Quiapo, may 16. So for Quiapo, we have 2 churches for the survey files of Quiapo. So the Quiapo Church and the San Sebastian Church. We also have survey files for the Tanduay Fire Station. And the rest of the 16 survey files ng Quiapo is mga residential buildings along so yun. So rest is residential buildings nga. So for Sampaloc, merong 13 na available na survey files. So 5 of the 13 survey files are about University of Santo Tomas main building. Kasama dyan yung main building ng University of Santo Tomas, yung printing press, yung Arch of the Centuries, Benavides Monument, and may survey file din talaga intended for the whole campus of UST. So other survey files are about the National University, University of Manila, Legarda Elementary School, and kasama din yung Gota de Leche. And yung iba pang survey files is about residential houses din. So for San Miguel, merong 8 available na survey files. So the Malacanang Palace kasama dyan, yung Hospicio de San Jose, San Miguel Church, La Consolacion College, Goldenberg Mansion, and the Teus House, to name a few. Sa San Nicolas, may 166. So yung San Nicolas district has the most number of survey files sa Manila, which is 166. So yung classification ng mga structures sa San Nicolas is like Binondo. So some are commercial buildings or accessoria, and the rest are residential structures. Sa Santa Ana, merong 60 na survey files. So Santa Ana is a declared historic center of the National Historical Commission of the Philippines in 2014. So karamihan sa mga documented structures dito ay mga residential houses. So other structures is of course the historic Santa Ana Church, the Manila Boat Club, and Plaza Calderon. So, well, actually, the Santa Ana, Manila is probably one of the well-identified core zone and buffer zone in the city of Manila. So, and to quote from the declaration of the Santa Ana as historic center or heritage zone, the Santa Ana core zone, composed of unique streetscapes and riverscapes, as well as historic sites and structures, including the church complex, open spaces like the Plaza Hugo, heritage houses, civic buildings and shops, which displays meaningful interconnections along with noteworthy modes of living and cohabitation that must be preserved and protected as the indispensable context of a vibrant community with larger metropolis. So sa Santa Cruz naman, merong 26 na survey files. So mostly commercial and communal buildings like the Monte de Piedad Building, Roman R. Santos Building, the MNLA Jockey Club. So kasama din dito yung San Lazaro Hospital and yung Department of Health Building. So sa Tondo, may 4 na survey files. Kasama dyan syempre yung Tondo Church, yung Rizal Elementary School, yung Mary Johnson Hospital, and yung St. Paul Methodist Church. As you all see, yung San Nicolas has the greatest number of survey files in Manila. Actually, karamihan sa mga ito is heritage house or ancestral houses types of buildings. And kasunod naman sa Santa Ana, Manila, which is a heritage zone. So based on my assessment of the survey files, karamihan sa mga ito is actually nasimulan noong 1977. So ito yung earliest survey file form na nakuha ko, yung 1977. Pero meron din namang mga 1985 survey files. So malamang ito rin talaga yung time na nag-initiate ang NHCP na mag-conduct ng survey para makuha yung actual count ng mga heritage structures sa bansa. So first, let's talk about what are the contents of a survey file or folder. So, hindi mawawala sa survey file yung survey form. So, in your screen, ito yung example ng survey form. So, ito yung example ng 1985 survey form accomplished by our former restoration and survey architects. So, sa upper part na survey file, makikita yung entry number structure. So, kumbaga ito yung parang ID number and catalog number ng structure or survey file. So, below, sa ibaba nito, ito yung town kung saan nagpapaloob yung isang survey file. Then, yung date ng survey and documentation. So, dito is 1985. So next is yung profile or yung current name ng structures. Kung may, so ito yung ano, so ito, dito makikita niyo yung current name and yung historic name ng isang structure. For example, the National Museum of Fine Arts Building. So ito yung current name ng structure, pero yung historic name naman niya is the Old Legislative Building. So for this one, so ito yung Ministry of Foreign Affairs Passport Division. So yung historic name niya is the Ateneo de Manila Law College. So itong ngayon yung itong Ateneo de Manila Law College, I think ito yung site ng Robinsons Manila ngayon. So after nito is yung classifications naman ng structures. So dito kailangan ma-determine kung ano ba to, kung public or private building. Kung ano ba yung gamit nito, civic building ba to? Commercial building, educational, or museum, ayan kasama dyan. Or ecclesiastical building ba to? And then nandito rin kung ano yung yung owner ng property, which is for this one, is mga Gokengwei ang may-ari. And dito makikita mo rin yung legal basis ng ownership. So pagka government property ito, usually, ano naman yan, mga Republic Act yung kino-quote sa owner property. So sa ibaba naman is yung, for the next one is yung description. Dito ini-explain ko ano yung architectural character ng isang building. Kung saan ito gawa, ano yung description ng environment nito, ano yung kasalukuyang state ng building, then sa ibaba naman yung map or yung location or yung site ng building. So after nito is yung historical significance. So dito kailangan ma-determine kung historic ba yung isang structure. So dito ilalagay kung ano yung mga mahalagang nangyari sa building, sino ba yung arkitekto ng building na ito, kailan ito ginawa, sino yung contractor. So lastly, sa survey form is yung bibliographical references. So kung gumamit ka ng sources sa pag-determine ng historicity ng structure, dito mo siya ilalagay. So let's proceed sa iba pang content ng isang survey files. So first, we have to know na magkakaiba yung content ng bawat survey file. So may instances na survey form lang yung laman ng isang survey file. So wala itong kasamang photographs, plans, or any documentation. Talagang survey form lang. And meron din naman mga survey file na sa sobrang dami ng records niya or documents, kulang pa yung isang data man para sa lahat ng records nito. Well, best example sa mga records nito is yung Metropolitan Theater of Manila Metropolitan Theater, which is also an active survey file dahil sa ongoing restoration nito. And another example is yung Philippine General Hospital, yung UPPGH. So later, papakita ko yung ilan sa mga laman ng survey files ng MET tsaka ng PGH. So ito yung ibang examples ng laman ng survey files. For this one, sa Ateneo, meron namang mga articles, may photographs, meron ding mga magazine and news clippings. So meron ding mga communication letters, merong historical notes about the structure. So this one is Regina Building in Escolta. So ito, similar year siya, 1985 din na survey yung structure. So for this one, ang content niya is survey form, may old photograph siya, preferably mga 1985 din tong photos na to. So meron ding research about the building, may article. And then this one is Burke Building in Escolta pa rin. So meron siyang article, may research, meron survey form, meron ding photographs ng Burke Building. This one is the Capitol Theater. So Escolta pa rin. So may survey form, merong 9 old photographs ng Capitol Theater. And then may research, may article na kasama. Meron ding plans. Pero itong plans na to is, I think itong plan na to is recent na to elevation plan na to. And I think this one is for the restoration ata ng Capitol Theater. So another example of a survey file is yung Museum of Philippine Art or the Elks Club. Ito yung ngayon, yung museyong pambata sa may Rojas Boulevard sa Ermita. So ito, medyo makapal-kapal din yung collection na to, itong survey file na to dahil the Elks Club is a national historical landmark. So meron siyang lamang resolution, may historical notes. So ayan, merong laman ding article, meron ding lamang mga communication letter and survey files. And this one is may mga old photographs ng Elks Club. And dito nadamay pa yung Army and Navy Club building. So I think itong mga photos na to is part of the Jerry White collection to. Yan. So may mga lamang din photo albums yung survey files. So ito is about the Philippine General Hospital. So for the PGH, siyempre meron yung survey form, may plans, and this one merong program ng 80th Foundation Week celebration ng PGH. So may mga communication letters, may assessment reports, merong minutes of the meeting, meron ding mga, actually itong mga survey files is a good archival document dahil merong mga na-acquire to na mga news clippings din na mahalagang sources na sa pagsusulat ng kasaysayan. So ito yung survey form ng PGH which is surveyed in 1977. So ito yung photographs nun. Yan, meron din mga articles. So ito yung marker text ng PGH. May news clippings, may old photographs, old plans. And ito naman is Manila Metropolitan Theater. So ito yung survey form ng MET. So merong ilaman itong plans, communication letters, meron ding lamang program. Ito yung sa inauguration ng Restored Manila Metropolitan Theater noong 1978. So meron din itong lamang research. Yun. So actually yung continuity ng record. So this is actually quite a challenge to us because some of the survey files we never got the chance to be updated. So, hindi natin alam kung existing pa yung mga structures na to. So, dahil medyo may limitation din kami dahil hindi lahat nare-revisit yung mga structure na unang na-survey. So, hindi natin alam kung existing pa ba itong structure na to. Pero what is good is everything is recorded and documented. So, when I said recorded and documented, kahit yung mga na-demolish na structure, meron kami mga survey files pa rin ito, like the High Alay Building. So, alam naman natin na na-demolish ang High Alay Building, pero because na-survey siya in 1980s, nakakuha tayo ng records ng architectural, nakakuha tayo ng mga photos and surveys and assessment nitong building na to. Well, probably one of the best example ng continuity of records is the Rizal Park Hotel or the old Army and Navy Club building. So, everything is recorded regarding this structure. So, yung history nito as Army and Navy building hanggang sa maging ma-adaptive reuse ito as the Rizal Park Hotel. So lahat to na-i-record, yung mga plans ng restoration nito, ng conversion nito as a hotel, lahat yan meron kami. And so yan, so dahil nga ang Army and Navy Club building is a National Historical Landmark which was declared in 1991, so kailangan talaga lahat ng developments sa structure na to is ma-document and mag-undergo yung mga integration nito dapat mag-undergo sa assessment ng NHCP. So another example of continuity of records is yung nabanggit ko rin kanina, yung Manila Metropolitan Theater. As I presented earlier, we have plans of the buildings. Kompleto kami sa mga plano nito dahil meron din kami compilation ng mga articles about the building. So further, the restoration of the building is actually a collaboration between the National Commission for Culture and the Arts and the National Historical Commission. Kaya naman we have it documented for continuity of the survey files of the Manila Metropolitan Theater. So, lastly, ito yung democratizing of NHCP survey files. So, actually, these survey files are public documents. So, it is actually, lahat ng survey files na nasa HSSDC is actually included in the catalog of the NHCP library. So, kung sino man yung magre-research sa NHCP, ma-access na itong mga to through our library dahil lahat ng lahat ng survey files included siya sa catalog ng library namin. Kaya lang, however, just like any other archival documents, meron ding mga limitation na pwedeng ma-access ang isang researcher. So, hindi naman lahat ng documents pertaining to a particular structure is may po-provide namin. So, hanggat maaari, kung ano lang talaga available na document na nasa HSSDC, yun lang yung may po-provide namin sa researcher. So, ayan, the present catalog of the survey files of NHCP is actually available at the website of the National Memory Project. So, itong National Memory Project, ma-access to through the website of the the 2021 Bicentennial Commemorations in the Philippines. So kung ano yung laman ng catalog ng ng NHCP Library, ito rin yung laman ng National Memory Project. Kasi before, hindi pa na-access kasi in public yung catalog namin, pero ngayon dahil meron ng National Memory Project, mas na-democratize na yung mga collections ng NHCP, including yung survey files. So, ayan. So, this ends my presentation. So, thank you so much for listening. Rancho?
Thank you for that, Jerwil. Right. Sure. Thank you for sharing with us the registry of the National Historical Commission of the Philippines and on how it is rooted on present regulations governing the agency. It is great to see that there are 223 declared historic sites and structures, and hopefully we see an expansion of that list as we include more sites in the registry of declared sites and structures. And what we saw was not just a registry for Manila, but an overview of NHCP's survey files for the entire country. So they showed us the forms, the methodology, and this is very significant. This is a very significant discussion, especially in the field of heritage documentation and cultural mapping. And thank you for that again. It was a very comprehensive discussion on the methodology of your agency, on how the NHCP goes about with their documentation of heritage sites and structures. Now, just to clarify, kasi this was not discussed in the presentation, how would you define a historic site and structure? Because I presume that this is the criteria from which inclusion is based. So how would you define a historic site or structure?
So thank you so much for that. Actually, the NHCP has unang-unang tinitignan namin kung meron ba itong national historical significance. Kung meron bang na-contribute ang particular structure na to sa ating history, or yung structure ba is mayroong distinct architectural significance. Yun.
So there's this values assessment, no? So ina-assess niyo yung value ng isang site, structure against the yardstick of national significance. Now, how would you would you consider sites na hindi naman national significant but significant locally?
Actually, for that, for example, yung mga churches sa Bohol. So, hindi naman lahat ng, not just in Bohol, but throughout the country. So, karamihan sa mga churches is may mga historical markers. Pero itong mga to, hindi naman lahat ng churches na to is may, kumbaga masasabi nating nationally significant yung history. Pero dahil nagpapakita ito ng kakaibang unique indigenization ng European architecture, which in-indigenize sila into Philippine architecture, kaya siya minamarkahan ng NHCP.
But these churches do not necessarily have any associated historical events, no? Not necessarily, no? But still include.
Yes, tama.
Because of their cultural value. Yes?
Yes.
So, ang nagiging parameter is historical but also cultural.
Actually, nagkakaroon kasi kami ng ano ngayon, kumbaga nagkakaroon ng overlapping din naman kasi ng functions ang bawat cultural agency like the National Museum and the NHCP. So, ang tinitingnan namin lagi, which is yung mga structures na may nako-contribute sa national history natin. And ano ba to? Itong structures ba na to is naipagpapatuloy ba yung gamit nito? And sa National Museum naman kasi, ang ano nila, dinedetermine nila usually ito sa pamamagitan ng cultural value ng isang structure.
And going back to my question earlier, so
yes.
The registry is open to inclusion of local sites of local significance as long as it contributes to the national narrative, yes?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Thank you for that. We are open to questions, everyone. For those who are viewing via Zoom, feel free to use the chat button or the Q&A button below. Or if you are viewing via Facebook, there's a comment section. Pwede po kayo doon mag-type na yung question sa comment section sa Facebook live broadcast. Now, keep them coming lang po. Let's see if there are any questions. Right. For you personally, yes?
Dagdag na ding Rancho regarding kanina. Actually, yung mga sites and structures na ina-identify ng NHCP as historic, malinaw ba ako?
Yes.
Ayun siya. Ayan. So yung mga structures na ina-identify ng NHCP as historic sites and structures, ito yung mga properties na sabi natin strongly associated with important historical events, kaya sinabi ko kanina. However, kasama rin dito yung mga structures na related sa ating mga heroes, illustrious Filipinos with distinctive historic contributions that actually endures. So, to explain din kanina, yung sinabi kong nade-determine din naman yung architectural significance, ito yung mga properties that bear strong foreign, historical, or period influences such as Chinese, Arabic, Spanish influence sa ating architecture sa Philippines. So meron din naman, I think, di ko na sure kung ginagamit pa tong criteria ng NHCP, pero another factor para makonsider ang isang site or structure as historic, kung ito bang site na to is site of first establishments. Like for example, yung first printing press, first theater, unang eskwelahan na pambabae, unang distillery, gano'n.
Right. Thank you for that. So just to clarify lang, so when you say a site or structure is historic, it refers to a strong association with a historical person, number one, tama?
Yes,
with
tama.
A historical event or a historical institution. Like, for example, the press, it is like that. So, three, no? So, three criteria: historical person, historical events, or historical institution. So, what if a structure has no connection at all with a historical event or historical structure, a historical person, but is associated sa isang lot? So, for example, we have a mall, a shopping mall in Ermita that was formerly the campus of the Ateneo de Manila University. would you consider that in your registry?
Actually, sa guidelines kasi natin, I think ang kino-consider talaga ng NHCP na classification ng historic site structure na kino-consider for recognition or for declaration is yung at least 50-year-old structures and at least 70% yung authenticity nito sa original architectural design. So ngayon, ang nire-recognize nila natin dun sa old site ng Ateneo Law School is yung site na lang, pero hindi natin siya ma-recognize as historic na talaga. Hindi natin siya mabigyan ng historical marker dahil sa mismong guidelines natin, hindi siya nagka-qualify dahil wala na dun yung structure. Pero I think, meron namang itong site ng Ateneo is meron tong marker talaga. Pero I think private institution ay nag-mark nito, hindi na NHCP. Pero at least, sa pamamagitan pa rin nalalaman natin na itong site na to is may historical value.
So, hindi ang NHCP nagmamark ng site. Ang minamarkahan nila is the structure.
No, nagmamark din kami ng site. Kung ang site na to is, for example, yung sa Pugadlawin, kailangan mo markahan yan dahil may historic event na nangyari doon. Luneta rin.
Thank you for that. Now, in the survey files, how would you treat a site with multiple historical layers? For example, block number 3 in Intramuros or block number 12, I think in Intramuros, that's the site of the BIR. So the first one, site of the BIR, which was previously the site of the Santo Domingo Church, and the Santo Domingo Church can be further broken down into 5 layers. Kasi 5 separate structures in different historical periods. Now, the same with the Manila Cathedral, 8 times 8 historical layers. No? First cathedral, second cathedral, then the last cathedral. And it's very important to kasi each layer has its own specific persons involved, has its own specific events involved. Meron siyang separate na architects, meron siyang separate na notable figures. So, how would you treat this? Multiple layering in your database?
Actually, kapag ganyan, nagkakaroon ka ng updating ng survey files and for example, kagaya ng ng Metropolitan Theater, before meron na yung 1970s, 1980s meron na yung survey file. Pero nung pumasok kami recently to restore it, automatic magkakaroon ng assessment kagad kung sino may arkitekto na assign dito, i-update niya. Hahanap siya kung may as-built plan ba to, i-record niya automatic kung ano yung mga available pa na architectural details ng building. So, na-update naman regularly yung files. And with regards naman sa nire-recognize ba namin, naisasama ba to sa mga historical marker itong development ito? Actually, maaari namang maisama, kaya lang, kumbaga, ang mga structures kasi natin napaka-dynamic talaga. So, hindi naman porke nagkaroon ng development, hihingi na kagad ng historical marker. So, dapat talaga, kumbaga, ma-maintain natin yung original architectural character ng isang structure. And kung may mga development man, dapat ma-coordinate din sa amin para at least aware kami and na-update din natin yung survey file na meron tayo.
Thank you. For you personally, what is the most, this is a personal question, what for you is the most interesting site or structure which you have personally surveyed?
For me, sa sobrang dami, siguro mag-focus tayo sa Manila. So for me, the most interesting would be the I think yung mga survey files ng San Juan City. Actually, napakaraming survey files ng San Juan. And karamihan sa mga to is residential houses. Pero, maku-curious ka, nasan ba tong mga to ngayon? ngayon, yung mga survey files ng San Juan, hindi na siya na-update. So, maganda na ma-update din siya. So, talagang yung curiosity mo talaga, nasan ba itong structure na ito ngayon? Lalo na yung mga bahay ngayon sa San Juan, ang tataas ng mga bakod. So, hindi mo makita talaga yung kung ito pa ba yung original na house na nakatayo dito. And kung ano naman, and isa pang interesting for me is the I think isama natin dyan yung sinurvey ko dati. Yung route ng Manila Railroad from Tutuban hanggang Camarines Sur. So dito may mga interesting sites dito na magandang ma-survey pa rin and ma-include sa registry natin, like in Del Gallego, Camarines Sur, diyan ni-launch yung line papuntang Legazpi. So authentic pa rin yung structure ng part doon ng Manila Railroad, which is very unique. Kasi aside from the station, merong park dedicated for Manila Railroad dito sa Del Gallego. So, maku-curious ka talaga na bakit sa Del Gallego nilagay itong park na to? Bakit hindi nilagay sa ibang site? Kung saan mas prominent yung city, mas kilala yung city. Ayun.
Thank you for that, Jerwil. Now, in your presentation, you have marked a distinction between site and structure. Yes. So, would you consider the two to be indivisible, or can it be separated? I said the question that we have right now. We have one interesting question from Jimmy Cipriano. How about the relocated heritage structures? So, an example would be the House of Mabini, no? So it used to be in Pandata,
in PUP.
Now, would you put two markers, one for the actual house and one for the site where the house once stood? So, how would you consider that? Of course, there's a picture of a resort somewhere in the north. No, you're familiar with that one, no? So, what is your opinion on that?
Actually, itong bahay ni Mabini, yung bahay na gala from Pandaka, nalipat sa Malacanang, hanggang sa nalipat sa PUP. Pero I think in my personal opinion, I think choice na talaga ng NHCP na ilipat to sa mas appropriate na lugar kung saan mapre-preserve yung structure. Kasi kung ilalagay natin siya sa may Pandakan, malapit sa Pasig River, binabaha ito. So, kumbaga, hindi natin masisigurado yung safety ng structure. Kung nasa loob naman ito ng Malacanang compound, sa sa Presidential Security Group compound ata ito, limited lang din naman yung makakapasok. So, maganda pa rin na i-assess natin, magkaroon tayo ng study na saan ba magbe-benefit yung structure nito? Saan ba ma-access to na mas nakakarami? Saan ba to mas masesecure? So yung paglipat nito actually hindi ko na naabutan yung paglipat nito sa PUP, pero I think ito yung naging decision ng NHCP kaya nilipat to sa PUP para at least mas ma-preserve yung structure ng Mabini Shrine.
So the marker is in the house, not in
I think yung marker marker ng house yung nasa bahay ngayon ni Mabini sa PUP. Pero I think may marker for the biographical marker ni Mabini ito. Hindi ko lang sure yung sa original site niya kung may marker, hindi lang ako familiar.
Just to clarify, is the survey files the same with the registry or is it a different filing system?
It has a different filing system. So the National Registry is only intended, present ko na siya kanina, to give a background. So yung National Registry is intended for marked and declared structures. So yung survey files naman, ito yung mga actually records, mga references ng mga researchers and mga architects namin. So hindi siya part ng National Registry, kung may separate database talaga siya. Pero ngayon, yung survey file naman is actually accessible to the public, so anyone can access it.
By accessible, you mean, is it already digitalized?
No, hindi pa siya digitized. Actually, before the pandemic talaga, meron na kaming mga regular researchers na nagpupunta sa NHCP to check the survey files of the HSSDC. So hindi pa siya digitized.
Are there any plans on developing this into an app?
Pardon?
Are there any plans of developing this into an app?
I don't know kasi hindi na ako part ng division na yun ngayon. Pero I think given na siya siguro dapat i-grab ng opportunity, kung may opportunity to digitize this para mas maging accessible sa public, dapat i-grab ng NHCP opportunity na to.
I understand that there is a very meticulous process to inclusion in the registry because the registry is just incidental since vetting process naman talaga dyan is for the declaration or for the marker. So there's a very meticulous process kung ano yung mark or kung ano yung i-declare na national historical landmark or national shrine or national monument. But with regard to the survey files, what is the vetting process? Who decides what to be included in the survey files in the NHCP?
Actually, the architect itself has the responsibility to determine kung eligible ba itong particular structure na ito na mapasama sa survey files ng HSSDC. So kung worthy naman siya, pwede siya isama. Pero kung ang isang particular structure na sinurvey is hindi talaga worthy na mapasama sa survey files, meron kaming separate filing system for that. So, itong filing system na to, which we call specific and general files, halo-halo na itong mga, hindi mahalo-halo, kumbaga by region or by classifications ng mga files na to. So, iba-ibang iba-ibang documents to, iba't ibang issues to na tungkol sa mga historic sites and structures. Pero, iba yung, kumbaga nasa architect and nasa researcher talaga yung pag-determine ng historical significance ng isang structure na mapapasama sa survey files.
But there is the listing involved in the survey files because you mentioned sometimes you remove files in the survey file, yes?
Ano?
So there is the listing involved in the survey files.
Sabi natin, hindi siguro hindi tayo pwede mag-delist sa survey files. For me, hindi tayo di-delist kasi yung survey files na yun is nadadagdagan lang. Kahit, eto nga, wala na yung high alay building, di ba? Pero kasama pa rin siya sa survey files namin kasi archival document na to. So these survey files are actually archival documents.
But earlier you said that sometimes you remove some files from the survey list. So is that the listing?
No. Actually, hindi.
Files, sabi mo, you transfer to a general. Can you clarify on that?
Yung mga yun kasi, hindi mo pa siya, yung mga inaaral mong structures na yun, syempre nag-undergo ka pa ng research. So doon, madedetermine mo kung worthy ba ito isama sa survey files at gawing part ng records ng NHCP. So kung hindi to worthy, isasama mo to sa specific or general files, which is another filing system. Pero once naman na ma-determine mo na historic yung isang site or structure, pwede mo naman ito isama sa survey files na. Pero once na mapasama ito sa survey files, once na ma-include na, forever na siya nandoon. And kung itong survey files na itong particular structure na ito na may survey file, kung in the future worthy pala siya for declaration or for recognition through historical marker, kumbaga huhugot na lang tayo sa survey files na ito para at least meron na tayong documentation, meron na tayong mga references for the research. naggagawin para sa declaration na to.
We have a question from Zoom. Have you considered an LGU or community-based effort to update the survey files? That would lessen the load on government officials, no? And yeah, another possible way perhaps is to outsource the updating needed from private sector maybe. So have you considered that?
As of now, wala akong, parang hindi pa nako-consider ng NHCP to, I don't know kung meron na ba ngayon na development para mag-tap ng mga private institution to assist the NHCP on surveying and documentation of historic sites and structure. Pero actually these survey files are just, I think, internal form to eh. Internal office, ito yung form lang ito na ginagamit ng mga taga-NHCP din mismo. Siguro, kung magkakaroon man ng possible, kung interested ang mga LGU na mag-survey ng sarili ng mga structures, I think the pre-coup of the NCCA has these forms or I don't know, may mga mechanisms na sila para sa pag-determine ng na cultural significance sa mga heritage structures na nasa jurisdiction ng mga local government units.
Let's go to that pre-CUP. So the Philippine Registry of Cultural Properties as maintained by the NCCA. Now, what is the relationship between the pre-CUP and the official registry of the NHCP?
Actually, the pre-CUP is much more mas malawak yung coverage nito because kumbaga ang nagko-contribute sa pre-CUP is not just one institution but I think all the cultural agencies are involved here and then idadagdag mo pa yung mga documentation and survey na structures ng mga local government units. So yung pre-CUP actually ginamit nila as reference din yung National Registry of Historic Sites and Structures. Kumbaga, idinagdag lang nila to ito yung naging basis nila para sa mga sites and structures na ni-recognize ng NHCP.
We have a Zoom attendee who is asking about access to the files. Now, at the current state, kasi nagtatanong siya kung the student is doing a thesis on the Metropolitan Theater. Now, if this student would like to access the survey files, would that be possible? Like, is that available in the NHCP library? Does she have to go there physically? Then right now, during the pandemic, is it allowed?
As of now kasi, off-limits muna ang research sa NHCP. Pero, kung pwede naman siya sumulat sa commission, pwede naman siya mag-request ng mga available documents na meron kami regarding Metropolitan Theater. So, probably gagawan siya ng pwede itong siguro i-digitize ng mga researchers namin para ma-access din niya. So, yung catalog naman is accessible to the public through the National Memory Project. So, pwede niya i-check doon kung nandun ba yung mga available, yung mga documents na kailangan niya. Pero as of now, kung physical research talaga, hindi muna matanggap ang NHCP.
So, magsusulat lang letter addressed to the chairman or the director?
Yes. Kay chairman or kay director, pwede naman.
Sige po.
Pero Rancho, I just have to clarify din na hindi lahat ng content ng isang survey file is na ma-access ng public. So, discretion pa rin ng HSSDC kung ano yung ipoprovide dito.
Is the survey files covered by the Freedom of Information program of the government?
Hindi ko lang sure kung yung survey form is actually covered. Pero yung entire collection, hindi ko lang sure kung yung mga mga heritage issues, yung mga ganun. Hindi ko sure. And yung mga researches din.
So instead of writing a letter, hindi ba pwede na mag-fill out na lang ng form sa eFOI portal? Kasi doon na lang
pwede naman siguro. Oo, pwede naman. Mm-hmm.
So sa mga naghihingi ng access sa survey files, pwede rin po kayo sa e-FOI portal ng NHCP. Yun. What does inclusion in the registry, so what is the implication of inclusion? What are the implications of being included in the registry? Is there funding involved? Is there special protection involved? Is there preferential treatment? And similar to that question, what are the implications for inclusion in the survey files? So is the treatment the same? Or is the survey files purely for documentation?
Yes, ayun. So the survey files is purely for documentation and as references lamang ng mga researchers at ng mga architects. Pero yung mga structures na ma-recognize at ma-release sa National Registry of Historic Sites and Structures, pwede silang kumbaga pwede silang makakuha ng pwede silang humingi ng assistance sa NHCP when it comes to restoration or technical assistance kung kailangan nila magpa-consult on the restoration of their structure. Ayan, pwede naman sa amin yun. Meron din namang fund na ibibigay ang government pero kumbaga kailangan muna natin i-request to.
Yeah, thank you for that. And do we have any more questions? Right. For those who are viewing, so considering your experience as a young professional in the field of heritage, in the field of history, what is your message to the students and the youth out there who wishes to follow a similar path as you have done?
Actually, I think dapat may masidhi talaga interest sila. And then, sa history, kailangan siguro mag-start muna sila sa local, nila, sa community nila. Actually, it's always start with curiosity. Ako curious ka na lang sa isang araw na may makikita ka, na may naglalakad ka dyan, may isang heritage structure, ako curious ka, ano ba yung kasaysayan nito, sino bang owner nito, paano nila napapanatili yung structure. So, it all starts with curiosity. And I think they just have to read a lot through napaka-accessible na ngayon ng mga readings dahil online, available na lahat yan. And nakakatuwa rin minsan magbasa ng mga issues regarding heritage issues. Talagang gagana talaga yung utak mo. Parang gusto mo i-assess, parang gusto mo mag-participate minsan.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that very comprehensive presentation and thank you for that very illuminating open forum section. Now, before we end this program, I'd like to promote our succeeding webinars, our succeeding episodes in our Araw ng Manila lecture series. So our next webinar, this is the 4th episode of the Araw ng Manila lecture series. We're going to have Dr. Jose Victor Torres from the De La Salle University History Department, who shall discuss about the rise of Ciudad Morada from Lumang Maynila. So he's going to talk also in Zoom, via Zoom, and via Facebook Live on June 24, 10 a.m. And in the afternoon, we're going to have Dr. Ambeto Campo from the Ateneo de Manila University History Department, who's going to talk about Manila in the past tense. So that's also on the same day, June 24, at 1 p.m. in the afternoon. Right. And thank you everyone for that thank you everyone for joining us in this presentation, and we look forward to seeing you again in our 4th and in our 5th episode. Mabuhay po sa lahat and see you again soon. Thank you din po, dear speaker, Sir Jerwil, sa inyong presentation. And sa uulitin po ulit.
Thank you so much din po.